Happy Friday, so-and-sos. It's Jaffe. Listen to me. I want to be clear first. Even if there were not still people at Sony that I held near and dear to my heart, and there are some, a lot of them have left, but there are a handful that I still genuinely think wonderful things about. Uh, Even if I despise them all, I don't spill secrets like that would hurt a team, that would hurt a game. I don't do it at all. I never would. I've had secrets like that. And I don't share them. It's not my place to. Trust me, it would be great for my own channel, but it would not be great for my soul. Okay, so when I share stuff that would upset Sony, it's probably really just Sony PR. I don't give a fuck about Sony PR. You know why? Because they were always so fucking difficult to deal with. They have a hard job. I'm not knocking them. They have a hard fucking job. And I feel for them. Like, if I was like an outside observer, I'd say, fuck, dealing with Jaffe's hard. I get it. But, you know, it is what it is. And they were kind of annoying sometimes. And even to this day, there's people who can't talk to me. And I'm like, look, I'm not going to ask them, you know, what color pantyhose, you know, Ken Kutaragi wears or whatever the fuck. We're going to talk about game design as art. Oh, you can't do it. You know, fine. But I don't give a fuck about pissing them off. Especially one person in particular. Fuck that individual. But that said, I do want to tell you two secrets that Sony probably wouldn't want me to tell you. I've already talked about them, but they've been buried in streams. Let me give you the first one. Let me give you the one that most people will be interested in. Well, I'll give you three. Fuck it. Here's a bonus. The first one is, look, everybody already knows. I'm not going to say what I know is going to be at PlayStation Showcase next week. I would not do that because that would hurt the teams. Like, people at Sony knew I was going to debut Twisted Metal way back in the day on the E3 stage, and they didn't spill it. Why would I would never want that. But here's what I can tell you. I was talking to someone yesterday saying, they were like, God, I hope this doesn't disappoint. And I said, well, what would disappoint you? And they were basically saying, you know, I want the big Sony stuff. I want the big guns. And I said, I'm not going to tell you what's going to be there. I don't know everything, but I know a handful of things, and you won't be disappointed if you are looking for kind of the traditional great first-party PlayStation. That's going to be there with flying colors, and I am so excited to see the people's response to it. I haven't even seen what I'm talking about, but I'm very proud and excited for all of them, of course, but some of these people that I can't wait to talk about it. But so that'll be next week. But that wasn't here's the two. The first one is people are speculating that God of War Ragnarok, or whatever they're calling it, is going to be there. I'm not saying it is or isn't. I don't know anything about that. What I will tell you, though, is about God of War, is that I'm hearing, and this isn't spoiling the game, I'm just staggered in a good and bad way. I'm hearing from people in the know that game is 40 hours. They are aiming for 40 hours of gameplay. Now, I don't know if that's 100% Platinum Trophy completion, or if that's average playtime. The first game, I think, clocked in at half that for most people, like 24 hours, not 24 hours, like 18 to 22 hours is what I heard. I personally don't want God of War to be 40 fucking hours, because how much money, I don't even care about the money, how much time would that team have to work to create 40 hours of compelling gameplay? Now, I know some of the people that are working on God of War, and they're some of the smartest cookies in the goddamn business when it comes to game design. It wouldn't surprise me if they can find some game loops that are genuinely compelling enough to make that 40 hours fly and not feel like padding. But that's a hell of a tall order. Regardless, though, some of you guys are going to love that news. Some of you guys are not. Is it guaranteed? No, things get cut, things get added, but what I can tell you right now, 40 hours of gameplay is what they're shooting for the new God of War Ragnarok. The other thing is just shitty, and I'm sorry about bringing this to people's attention, but I heard this from 3 different people, and they were all very different parts of PlayStation. So it wasn't just like, oh, I had a contact in Santa Monica, I had a contact up in Foster City. This literally covered two states, so one big state, you know what state that is, and then another state where Sony PlayStation has people. So this is not one studio, okay? Here's the story. This is rough, man. This is a rough one. So my understanding is the bonus program at Sony for game makers has changed. Now, I was so fortunate because the bonus program at Sony, when I was coming up from like Twisted Metal 1 on, was just, you know, other people who came into the Sony PlayStation from outside and other companies in the industry, they didn't believe it because they were like, oh, we always get promised bonuses in this industry. It's rare. You know, you have to be top of the food chain. No. You know, I paid my fucking student loans off with one check from Twisted Metal 2. I'm not driving Ferraris. I'm not John Romero or anything. But the way it worked was once your game got into profit, the teams got, I don't remember what percentage it was, but the head of the studio, let's say it was Alan Becker who ran the studio for Twisted Metal, he got a lump sum of cash. And it's like you can distribute this in percentages based on discretionary, and then eventually it became discretionary, but it was also, you know, you were guaranteed an amount, a percentage of your salary if, you know, a bonus was made. So people made real money, you know. The fact that I can sit on my butt right now is because I made real money and my ex and I invested it really smartly. It was a real deal. And my understanding is that when God of War 2018 came out and, you know, rightly so, you know, set the roof on fire in terms of sales and success and all that, the bonus checks were fast and furious. It didn't take that long. I don't know how long it took them to get to profit. It probably was within a couple of days, if not a month, which means they got paid at the end of the quarter. So if it shipped in January, well, let's say we know when it shipped, right? It shipped in April, was it? Let's just say it shipped in April. They would get paid the next quarter, I think, was like April, May, June or something. So you could have shipped the title in April and you could have been sitting on a huge amount of cash come June. My understanding is that caused a bit of an exodus at Sony Santa Monica, and people were like, well, I stuck around, I made my ducats, I'm out. You know, it doesn't mean Sony Santa Monica is a bad place to work at all, but I think, you know, you put in that kind of time, you make that kind of money, a lot of people are like, fuck it, I want to take a break, I want to take another job that pays less, but now I can, you know, be more running the ship or creatively engaged or involved because, you know, that opportunity might not be at Santa Monica, whatever. And so my understanding is PlayStation implemented a policy change across all their studios that now says, this is insane to me, but I don't know what I would do different, but it's insane to me, that now says, yeah, you're going to get the bonus just like before, but instead of getting all of it at a time, right? So you this is terrible. I'm terrible at math. Let me do a very simple. So let's say the studio head got $100 bill and said, that's your bonus for this quarter. Distribute that as you will. Well, that $100 bill is gone, right? And then you wait for the next amount of money to come in the next quarter. It always got exhausted. Well, now they're saying, my understanding is, this is alleged, but I've heard it from 3 different people at Sony, so I'm going to assume it's true. They have no reason to lie, and they all said pretty much the identical thing. Now, the way it works is once a game goes into profit, they pay that bonus out to you, I believe same percentage and all that, but over the course of 3 years. Think about that. So you could be the director of Ragnarok or the CTO on the team of Ragnarok or Naughty Dog's new game or whatever. And you're sitting there going, I just put out this massive hit and I'm stuck. If I want to make the money that's coming to me, which would be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe even more, depending on who you are and how successful the game was, I'm basically stuck for 3 years. Okay. And think about the cycle, right? So, well, that's shitty because the bonus should be based on the work you already did. Okay. I get, especially like Yumi Yang and shit, who's doing a great job running Sony Santa Monica. They're in a hotbed of competition. There's so many studios hiring talent that I get. All the Sony studios need to keep people. It's competitive as fuck, but so I understand they needed to do something, but this seems wrong, man. I mean, you did the work, you were promised the bonus, and again, it's not contractual, but now you were promised it, now they're saying we've changed it. That's their right to do, of course. But my goodness, you did the work, and now they're artificially creating barriers just so you won't leave. So it's shitty, first off. Second off, think about the cycle. So let's just say you work on God of War Ragnarok and you have to wait 3 years to vest of all your money. And right when God of War Ragnarok finishes paying out, or you're at 100% of your bonus of what you could be making, and I'm sure there's more after it finishes paying out because there's still quarters to come that you're in pure 100% profit. Then in that 3 year time, you've made another game for Sony. And you're like, oh, fuck, well, now it's God of War Ragnarok 2. Now I'm stuck again for 3 years. I don't know. Now, maybe what they did was they said, hey, because of this, we're going to give everybody a bonus bump. I don't know this. I should have asked these people this that I talked to. Maybe if they said, look, we know this sucks, but it's the cost of doing business. But look, we're going to give everybody a big bonus right now, not as big as you would have gotten, to kick off the plan. Because we understand that it's shitty to have this dropped on you, and maybe now it's like this is just what it is. I don't imagine they did that, but at least it would have been a nice, middle ground. Again, this is not something Sony goes on record and talks about, so all I can tell you is I've heard it from 3 people. I think it's shitty. You know what what I would probably do, and this is why my company, that's not the main reason, but it's one of the reasons I don't run a company anymore, because I wasn't very good at it. But I think I would just let the chips fall where they may. I'd say, you know what, man, this is my studio or our studio. This is your bonus. You earned it. I would love to think you're going to stick around and we're going to make more stuff. But you know what? I'm not going to force it. And if you want to stay and you like what we're doing and it's a good place to work, then you'll stay. And I don't think you can really run a business like that these days with all that competition, but it's probably why I'm not running one, because I don't think I could be okay with these changes if they are indeed true, which, again, I have no reason to believe that they're not. I hope you're well. Have a great, safe weekend. I will be streaming this weekend, and I will see you soon. Bye, everybody.